Let me tell you, you get your VIP at Chikurubi. We want peace.
And Romziam Gomong Nirishongano ida Singapore. Kanzo watu kule zimwe mzimbo wakutanga kufundisira wangu. Machidi mukavotera pakati. Mukavotera pakati ndakataura ndikadaiwa. Itai muchinyararire.
We are not going to be merciful. What is
Mosane nyuana babai, Jimmy Magalamba kuterera mashoku, Nadiwana musiki, Jonaika, Satanika.
August 23, 12 candidates, all vying for the top job to run and lead this country to prosperity, maybe, or elsewhere. We get to understand these candidates who are asking for your vote, who are asking you to give them the mandate to run this nation. Now this here, on the Free Talk, we get the answers for you. We look into the issues that you should be worried about. The so what of this election. Join me on this, the Free Talk, as we walk this journey to give you the information that you want, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. Now join me just after this break as we get into more details. Welcome back to this, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, and we get you the answers. I am, as usual, your host, Dara B. And in studio this evening, we are joined by one of the 12 presidential candidates, Presidency Chikohora, a chartered accountant by profession, seeking to run this country. Here on this, the Free Talk, we get you the answers. We give you the first-hand experience, the front row seat to accountability. Thank you very much, President, and welcome to this, the Free Talk.
Thank you for having me, and good evening, listeners.
Now, President, I want us to just have a brief introduction of what you stand for and why people in Zimbabwe should vote for you.
Okay, my name is Presidency Chikohora. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. I'm a businessman. I'm a business leader. I have been a leader in business for a long time. I have been president of the Chamber of Commerce in Zimbabwe before. I have been Secretary General of the COMESA Business Council before. Now I'm a politician, and now I'm leading a coalition of parties which were in POLAD, which is called the Zimbabwe Coalition for Peace and Development, ZCPD, and I'm a presidential candidate in the August 23 elections. And I think our party and myself as the candidate best placed to lead this country going forward. We are looking at putting in place an inclusive government if we win the elections, because we believe that at this point in time, that is what this country needs. This country has been polarized on two poles because of two parties in the past 2 decades. And we have not been able to achieve anything in those past 2 decades. And so we are saying, no, enough is enough. We need to come together as a people, and we need to be able to work together as a people if we are to make any progress. And this is why we want to put in place an inclusive government. And we think that this resonates with what most people want. Because at the end of the day, what people want is a country that works. More importantly, is an economy that works. And for us, as ZCPD, and for me in particular, we are very strong on the economy. Our manifesto is about the economy. We believe this election is about the economy, because everybody wants to be able to live well for themselves and for their families. This thing about political parties is not what brings prosperity in our homes. What brings prosperity to all of us is a leadership that knows what they are doing, that can get this economy working as it should. And we believe as ZCPD, through an inclusive government, we can do that, especially with myself in particular. As a business person, as a chartered accountant, as a professional, as an ethical leader, I think that is what this country needs to be able to move us forward. We will be able to work with people from all parties across the political divide in government. We'll be able to work with people who are not even in politics, people in business, people in various avenues of life. We want to bring together a team of the best that Zimbabwe has to offer to be able to lead this country to prosperity.
Amazing, President. Now I want us to put some of these things that you have said to test, and also look at your past and going forward. But firstly, how does business and politics come together? Because you have been in business successfully, so holding those top positions, and why the temptation to get into politics?
Okay, it's not a temptation as such, but myself, I'm a leader, and I'm also a professional, as you have said. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm also a business person, and I've been a leader in business. When you are a leader, you get to be assigned leadership responsibilities wherever you are. Even in church, I'm a church elder, you understand. So leadership is a gift that you get, even from God, and you also do your best to improve yourself as a leader for the benefit of the people that you lead. So in this country, I have realized that most of our issues, in fact, the majority of our issues emanate from politics. And so in as much as you can seek to do good in various aspects, whether you are in sport, whether it's the Warriors, or whether you are in business. I've been a leader in business. There is a limit to what you can do for your country, especially with the setup that we have here. But this country is dominated by politics.
But
so
most business leaders have failed dismally in politics. We look at Nkosana Moyo, a man of business repute. He failed dismally in politics. Look even at your finance minister, Mthuli Ncube, business-oriented, but has failed dismally as a politician.
Okay, I am in it now. I am a different person from those people that you've mentioned. I have my own background. I have my own strengths. I have my own weaknesses.
What makes you different? What makes you, let's say we look at you and say, okay, this is someone who can be different.
Okay, let's talk about politics. Yeah? I have been in politics for a bit of a while, actually. I am the leader of a party called the Coalition of Democrats, COD. And we contested in the 2013 elections in COD. At that time, our leader was Elton Mangoma. I was still the Secretary General of the party. After the elections, we had not won, and the country was going through a lot of turmoil. You know, this is where we had even people being shot, you know, after elections. And we had the Montlant Commission, amongst other issues. And then we had a situation where there was so much acrimony in politics after the elections. And so those of us who were in politics at that time, after the elections, I had now taken over leadership of COD from Elton Mangoma, who had retired. And we said, with other political leaders, how do we move forward? Do we just watch as things are going like this, or how can we in fact make a difference? And that's when we began to talk with other political leaders, and we began to see how we could move forward. And this is how actually POLAD was formed. So I will tell you that we were instrumental in the formation of POLAD.
POLAD, which many people believe didn't achieve anything.
Okay, let's get into it, you know, and say what happened and what is what. POLAD, Political Actors Dialogue, which the current president also bought into and then instituted, is a platform for political leaders to discuss issues affecting Zimbabwe, right? And try to come up with solutions on how we can all move together forward. It is also a platform of trying to bring people together, trying to get people to talk instead of just fighting. You understand?
Did you achieve that?
Yes, we did. Because
who did you bring to talk?
Out of the 23 parties that contested the presidential elections in 2018, right? In 2018, we had about 19 of those parties coming together to talk initially. Some of the parties, fizzled out in terms of their own political careers, etc. But in the end, right now as I speak, there are 16 political parties, including ZANU-PF, in POLAD. The only notable absentee is your Triple C. The MDC at one time wanted to come, and then they wanted out. But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is the only formal dialogue platform for political leaders in Zimbabwe is POLAD. And this platform is attended by the head of state, and the head of state listens to what comes out of there, and some of the things that have come out of there have been implemented almost instantly. So for us, that is a success. And also we've even the kind of acrimony that was there immediately after the 2018 elections has eased out. But even the violence, even now, if we are doing this campaign, you will notice that the political atmosphere is much better than it was before.
How do you call the political atmosphere much better when rallies are being banned, when people are being beaten up?
What I know is that whereas initially, soon after the nomination courts, there were some problems with the rally bans, but the authorities in the police have rectified that. You know that there was the memo that came from the...
But this is not a police state, is it?
No, but we're saying those are the people that were banning rallies. and they've since acknowledged that they should not do it, and they've given instructions to their people not to ban. And everybody, including Triple C, who had their rally banned, have now launched their campaign, and they are going around the country doing rallies. So to us, that has been rectified, and that we welcome that. Yeah.
That doesn't have anything to do with POLAD. In fact, my sources say that this statement came just 2 days before the EU observer mission landed in Zimbabwe.
I don't know about the EU, and I don't speak for them. But what I know is that when we started POLAD, it was difficult to have a situation where my opposition leaders can talk to ZANU-PF. Even when we used to go to State House, there was just so much suspicion. It was difficult. And I know that over the past 4 years, we have developed a rapport where even when, I think there used to be soldiers in 2019 all over the locations and all that. And these are some of the things that we discussed in Poland, and that was changed. Even your roadblocks, even the way we address each other as politicians has changed. And I'll tell you, the attitudes between ZANU-PF vis-a-vis opposition have changed.
Which opposition?
Any opposition for that matter. This is why
Triple C will not agree with your statement.
This is why even MDC at one time we're now wanting to come to Poland. Even Triple C, for your own information, they are dying to want to meet with the current president. It's just that they can't get to do it. But everybody realizes that a dialogue is the only way to go. People can posture and do all that, but I'm telling you, that person who you are talking about is dying to have a meeting with President Mnangagwa, which we have every day in Poland. And these things help to move this country forward. So I'm saying we've already demonstrated.
In your view, this country has moved forward.
Yes.
In what area?
In politically, in terms of tolerance, in terms of dialogue. And Poland has helped to create that. And I have been instrumental in doing that. I am the chairman of the Economic Committee of Poland. I'll tell you some of the things that we've managed to do. In 2020, in February, government had actually banned foreign currency. There was Zim dollar and nothing else in 2020. And things were going haywire in the market. And we called for what we termed the POLAD Economic Summit in February 2020. And we brought together all your business community, your labor, your diplomatic community that you are talking about, everybody. We managed to do that. We brought them together. And even government. And we said to government, you will not be speaking. We want the stakeholders to speak. And we had the head of state and government sitting there listening for the whole day to all these stakeholders. It has never happened before. So we did that.
You are saying President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa
sat there at HICC the whole day.
So he's a good president.
In terms of accepting dialogue, I have to accept that was a step forward. And this is what I'm talking about.
So why would you want to challenge a good president?
No. There are so many things that are required in a president, and there's no one who has got all the attributes. It's a question of, in terms of where we are as a country, what attributes do we really need?
What
has he got them or has he not got them?
In your view, what attributes does President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa lack that you would want to oust him from office?
That I would want to be in his position going forward and not him. Okay, just one aspect. I'm much younger than him. He is 80 years old. You understand? So even the way the world is now, it is different in terms of how things are moving versus how he may perceive things and how somebody like me can perceive things. Even the energy levels are different. I'm just giving simple things. Then secondly, even the background, where we are now as a country. The issue is about the economy. Huh? And whether you like it or not, out of all the presidential candidates, I have got the best credentials.
You could be a minister
in terms of no. This problem has got to be directed from the top, because the mess that we are in now, and the way this country operates, most of the power rests with the presidency. You know that. So the direction of this country depends on who the president is. That is the truth.
So you are saying
yeah.
President Mnangagwa is a failure in the economic front.
I'm saying I am far better at running the economy than him, for obvious reasons. He is a security expert. I'm a business professional. So there's no competition in terms of that.
So you'd rather he be a minister of security, not a president?
No, I would rather he has served us well. He then retire as a past president and as a liberation hero of this country. Us, the younger people, take over and lead this country to economic prosperity.
So you think age is an issue in this election?
Yes. Age is an issue. Capacity in terms of being able to turn around this economy. Perception is an issue. Who, when you look at, do you think can be able to lead this economy? Is it him? Is it me? Is it others? Who is better placed to do it? I'm not talking about giving people stories and things like that. I'm talking about actually running things. I'm talking about not just telling people that after a week when I'm president, everything will be okay. There's nothing like that. It's about what are you going to do to actually make things move forward. And I'm saying, out of all the crowd that is there, the truth is, I am better equipped to do what needs to be done.
Julius Malema, in one of his amazing interviews, said that he doesn't need to be an economist, doesn't need to be a business person. In fact, he said he doesn't need to be intelligent to be a president. Those around him, those who run policy every day, are the ones who are supposed to be brighter than him.
That is why Julius Malema is an opposition leader and Cyril Ramaphosa is the president of South Africa.
And why are you an opposition leader who even failed to garner lots of vote in 2018 in the party that you were in?
I was not a presidential candidate. Now I'm a presidential candidate, not just of my party, but a coalition of parties from POLAD. And
a coalition of parties that had less votes than the spoiled ballot in 2018. You think that's significant?
I don't know about your statistics, but 2018 is not 2023. And I am a different presidential candidate from those that were there in 2018. And I'll tell you, watch this space. Mm-hmm. People are not stupid. They know what works and what doesn't work. And our candidacy this time around is the one that works. I will tell you that, because at the end of the day, what we are selling, that this country at this stage needs an inclusive government, is the most viable option. ZANU-PF cannot solve the problems of this country alone. I will tell you, CCC cannot solve the problems of this country alone. What we are saying, that we need everybody together, is actually the viable solution. You might have any other view that you might have, but this is the truth. This country will never develop as long as we are polarized. We will only be able to move forward if we harness the energy that we all have and move together. And we are the ones that are giving that path. We are saying it doesn't have to be black or white. There is a gray in between where all of us can fit in. And we are espousing that vision. And we believe, win or lose, that is the only vision that will take this country forward.
President, in your opening remarks, you said that there is an abyss in this country.
Yes.
Where people are seeing things on black and white.
Yes.
And black and white is ZANU-PF and the CCC, really, from your introduction. Now, how do you think that in a nation that is as polarized as you say, they'll be able to see the middle part.
They'll be able to see that this is a zero-sum game. We have been doing this for the past 20 years. Huh?
And they have not been seeing it.
But
why would they see it now?
They will see it now, that this is not working, because they can see that the economy is not working. Both these parties have been in power actually. ZANU-PF has been in power at national level. CCC or MDC, whatever you want to call it, has been in power at local authority level. That's the truth. At national level, it's not working. Even at local authority level, it's a mess. There's not even water in the households. The sewer everywhere. You understand? So we are taking basic things like provision of water and failing to do that. And these guys are telling you that they can fix the problems of the rest of the country in a few weeks. It's not true. You understand? So
you are a businessman, and you must be pragmatic and serious, right?
Yeah.
You are telling the people in Zimbabwe right now
Yes.
that if the head of a cow is dead, you can still milk it. Is that what you're saying?
I have been a councillor before. I've been a special interest councillor before in 2009 to 2013. I know that local authorities are run by councils. They are run by resolutions of councils. It's not a national government that determines what the rates are, or it is not the national government that determines whether the pump from your water source is pumping to the household or not.
A resolution was made by Harare City Council to employ James Mushore as the town clerk of Harare City Council.
Okay.
That was vetoed by then Minister of Local Government.
Right.
Recently, a resolution of council was made by Harare City Council again to issue bills in United States dollars. It was vetoed by central government.
No, but if you are issuing bills in US dollars in a country where the currency, the functional currency is Zimbabwe dollars, it's not legal. It's illegal. That's just an operation of the law. It's not about a state of even your own business.
So you're saying the Ministry of Home Affairs
you need to follow the laws.
You're saying the Ministry of Home Affairs is operating illegally by issuing passports in United States dollars when the functional currency is it's a local currency.
If you are dealing with a commodity, like for example a ticket for airlines.
We're talking about passport.
I'm talking
about a passport, which is a right to citizens.
Which is by government.
Yes.
Then that would be wrong. They should do it in Zimbabwe dollars. They should not say that a Zimbabwean government who is saying the functional currency is Zimbabwe dollar, and then they say you are not allowed. That is not acceptable.
So the same government says passports issue them in United States dollars, but rates, no.
Yeah.
And the same government says bill in RTGS, but we allow service stations to sell fuel in United States dollars. And it's okay.
No,
you find that fine.
No. This is why I'm saying they failed to run this economy. And we can do it better. This is why I've said it. I'm saying...
I'm trying to look at equalizing the blame so that you justify
this is what I'm saying. I've said at national level, the economy is not working. Who is responsible? It's ZANU-PF. But you have got to acknowledge at local level.
How does
at local
question is
at local level?
Yes.
CCC, MDC is in charge, and they failed.
The
The
question is,
I'll tell you.
If you fail at national level, how do you succeed at local level? That is my question.
You can. I will tell you that if today, City of Harare says we just want to do one thing, and the one thing that we want to do is to make sure that we will provide water in the households. If they are focused on that, if they have the competencies, they can do it. And no one will stop them from doing that.
With what money, President?
Are you not paying rates and water charges right now? You are. Are you not paying city parking and all that? Are you not? Can they not take RTGS to the auction and get foreign currency when they need it? City of Harare. They can. So don't make excuses on behalf of politicians. They have failed at local authority. So has ZANU-PF failed at national level. This is why I'm saying the two of them, it's a zero-sum game. They are not taking us anywhere. We need something else. We need something different which works. And that is the truth.
So
That is the truth.
So you are saying that a local
Yeah.
authority should be competing with business for foreign currency at an auction. And as a businessman, you find that plausible.
If they want to buy...
Central
yeah.
government itself doesn't go to
what?
To the auction, does it?
To get money.
Yes.
But central government is central government.
Local government is government.
No, they are a local authority as well. If they want to get money, they can be prioritized. And I tell you, local authorities have gotten money from the auction. They have. You can ask them. They have. So
Yeah, but I'm a president.
yeah,
I'm just asking because you are looking to be a president.
Yes.
And honestly speaking, you are telling me that people at home watching want to believe that if you are president, you are going to be okay with local government, with local authority that provides basic service to the people, should go on an auction to compete for foreign currency with Econet, with Net1.
Okay.
Does that make sense to
Okay,
you?
we are talking about what is there now. When we are in power, we will have policies that ensure that we have high levels of investment, both local investment and foreign direct investment. And if you give me a chance, I will talk about all
Sure,
these
please.
things. We will ensure that the levels of productivity and production have increased, that we can supply the local market, goods and services, and even export. We will be able to rebrand this country such that it becomes a destination of choice. And we will have even more tourist arrivals. We will be able to embrace the diaspora, and we will be able to have consistent, viable policies which attract even investment from our diaspora. So in a nutshell, I am saying there will be much more foreign currency available in the country, such that we will be able to defend the local currency, such that we will have systems that work, and those that need foreign currency would be able to get it in the normal banking system, in the normal course of business. What is happening now is not sustainable. What we will be able to institute is a more sustainable economic framework that works. So those are different things altogether. And this is why we're saying we need to move away from this paradigm that is currently there into a new paradigm. From a paradigm of little to a paradigm of plenty. And that needs policies that can enable the private sector and all other players to do what they are supposed to do in order to move our country forward, including even the reintegration of this country into the community of nations, to be treated like any other country and not a pariah state.
We are a pariah state,
We are treated like a pariah state.
but we are not.
But we are not. You know, we are a proud Zimbabwean nation which should be able to take its rightful place in the international community. And we will be able to do this through a more focused and robust reintegration strategy.
If we are not a pariah state,
Yes.
and we are being treated like a pariah state,
Yes.
what makes you think that if you are in office, we will stop being treated like a pariah state? Because, as you're saying, we are not even a pariah state, according to you.
Yes, you see, perception can be reality. And perception is generated by a whole lot of things, including even who is leading the country. Creates a certain perception.
You are saying
Yeah.
President Emerson Mnangagwa's image does not give a perception of a democratic society.
I'm saying some people perceive it that way. You understand? So,
But it's a wrong perception.
I am saying, as a Zimbabwean people,
Are you saying that perception against President Emerson Mnangagwa is a wrong perception?
well, it is those people's views. But I'm saying,
Are they wrong in your view?
I don't answer for them.
I'm
I
asking
answer
for
for
your
myself.
view. Yes, your
myself. Zimbabwe is a proud nation and is not a pariah state.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is our responsibility as Zimbabweans to repackage ourselves and remodel ourselves in a way which will create the best perception for us as a country going forward. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying having people like myself in leadership is the start of doing that.
But what if I push back and say, President Chikohora, you should just join ZANU-PF and make the world see that we are not a pariah state?
ZANU-PF is not Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe is not ZANU-PF.
But if the leadership there is good and has held this country
and that is why we're having elections now, so that people choose what works for Zimbabwe and what doesn't work for Zimbabwe. And that is why we've put ourselves up for election. And we are talking about all these things so that people make informed choices that benefit them at the end of the day. Yeah.
Amazing. Let me take you off these issues, and let's talk about what you think should be done to make sure that our government works properly.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to talk about some of the things that we envisage even in our manifesto. As I've said, for us, we believe it is about the economy. This election is about the economy. We are saying we need an economy that works. That means we need a stable currency in this country so that we are able to plan. You and me and business and investors and everybody can plan and make economic decisions, in the foreseeable future. We need stable interest rates so that they facilitate investment in the economy. So we need stability in the economy. And how are we going to achieve this? I would say in the economy there are about 5 key pillars that are there. And then I will talk about another 2 overarching issues that we also need to address. The first one in the economy is to do with agriculture. This economy is agro-based. And I will say that the land reform program, we support it. And it is good that there is now land available to the majority of the people in this country. But now we are saying we need to move away from the mere redistribution of land to actual productivity on the land. Production and productivity. That is now what is key on the land. That means we need to bring finality to the land audit exercise. That means we need to make sure that everybody that has a farm only has one farm. We cannot have multiple farm owners. That means those that have farms need to be utilizing them effectively. We cannot have people with hundreds and hundreds of hectares, but just using 50 hectares or not using anything at all. We need to have productivity on each and every farm. We need to move to agribusiness, which means we need to bring back tenure on farms. Having made sure that you now have productive people on farms, those that really want to farm, you have to put in place a mechanism for them to be able to eventually get title deeds on the farms. That offer later business does not work because you cannot invest on a farm where you just have an offer letter, because tomorrow you can get a chef who comes and takes away that farm. So you need to bring into effect security of tenure for those that are productive, so that you can also have even financiers, the banks, being able to fund agriculture on a sustainable basis, and those people on the farms being able to invest themselves. And you need to bring back value to that land. That land needs to have value again. Because at the moment now, there's no value attached to it. And it's a great resource that is there. So we are talking about agribusiness, moving away from just land resettlement. Agribusiness, and we are talking about security of tenure and title deed for the serious farmers. Then that will ramp up production, and that will make sure that we have self-sustenance. This will include even massive investment in irrigation so that we climate-proof agriculture. Drought or no drought, we produce. And we will have adequate production for consumption here and even to export and regain our position as the bread basket of Africa. Then in mining, we have vast mineral resources which we have not fully utilized. And where we have utilized, the little that we have managed to utilize, the people are not being able to benefit much from it. Because of the deals that we do in mining, there's no transparency in mining. You don't even know what is happening in lithium, who owns what in those new lithium concessions. If you go to platinum, our other major resource, the government of this country does not have any shareholding in those platinum operators, right? What really are we benefiting from our strategic mineral resources, which are vast? And we need to harness that and ensure that we have tight deals which are transparent, which all of you will be knowing about, to say in this country, in the platinum sector, we are benefiting so much. In lithium, we have 50% or whatever it is, like what happens in other countries. And we then say, this is how we are benefiting from our God-given resources. And you see the benefit in social services. You see it in your hospitals, you see it in your roads, etc. The benefit of the natural resources. What is the policy in terms of procurement in these huge mines? You will be surprised that most of these mines import most of the things that they use on the mines. And yet, if you have policies that promote local procurement, you are actually growing business in the local economy, in local manufacturing, to supply these big mines. Some of these mines, even in employment, they have people, a lot of the jobs, taking people even from their home countries, when we have so many qualified people in Zimbabwe. What is the policy regarding that? That all goes towards what are we benefiting from the mineral resources. What about corporate social responsibility? What are they obliged to do? Are they obliged to build roads? Are they obliged to build clinics, hospitals, etc.? Is there anything, or is just out of their own whatever little change they think they want to put into the economy? So that's in mining. Again, put in place those policies that benefit this country the most. Utilize mineral resources to the full. Attract both foreign direct investment and local investment. Manufacturing. Have clearly defined policies on beneficiation. You are now beneficiating your agricultural produce and your mineral produce. If it is gold, do we have, with so much gold that we have, do we have a viable jewelry industry in this country? Or is it just being shipped, like you have seen what is happening? And we are not deriving maximum value in terms of the value addition of the gold. Just as an example. If it is iron ore, if it is chrome, do we now have a viable steel manufacturing industry in Zimbabwe? And have you put in place policies and incentives that ensure that you develop that viable steel industry, as an example? Utilizing the resources that we have in minerals. If it is agriculture, are we now able to have, if it is market gardening like tomatoes, are we able to have canning facilities to have your tomato puree, all your valuable high-end products which you can even export. That's in manufacturing. And those are the policies that government needs to put in place to stimulate those value chains and to make sure that we have maximum production, maximum productivity, even for export, generating the much needed foreign currency. Talk about infrastructure. We don't even have any railway to talk about anymore in this country. We move everything on road. Whether it's coal, it's fuel, we move things on road. And that even makes the road network get destroyed more quickly. You know, it makes the road network even worse. You know, despite the fact that we are not investing much in roads. The fact that we don't have rail destroys our roads. It makes our products uncompetitive. Even your coal from Wange, if you want to export it, you can't do much because you're using road. Road is more expensive than rail. All your produce, if you are using road, you cannot compete with people that are using rail. So we need to have massive investment in rail to get our railway working again in order to move our cargo. Secondly, in order to even move people. Even this congestion that we have now in the big cities with your combis and that kind of thing can be alleviated if we develop a functional rail system even in the cities. You can even lower the cost of transport for the traveling public in the cities, and you can make it more efficient, and you can decongest the towns. Instead of just being you chasing shikas and combis around, it doesn't work because you don't have a viable alternative. So you need to have a functional rail network even for your public transport system. That's the way things are going. If you go to modern cities, they have rail. They have those ramps above roads. You have rail. People even park their cars outside town, take the train, go into town. That is the modern way of doing things. And this is what we envisage doing in infrastructure. And this can be achieved more effectively through using public-private partnerships. So it doesn't even have to be government resources only. You can put policies in place that promote PPPs, that have people coming in, doing build, operate, transfer. They operate 20 years or so, and then they give government later, after also recovering their capital. That's how it works all over the world. These huge trunk roads that you see, big motorways, they don't necessarily get developed by governments. It is public-private partnerships, which we have to promote. So we also need to move away from an attitude of government wanting to own everything to an attitude of government facilitating to make sure that they have things that work. It doesn't matter who owns them. What matters is whether it's functional or not in terms of building infrastructure. And that is where PPPs, public-private partnerships, become key. Rail, public roads, you name it. So we are going to be big on infrastructure development. And when you develop infrastructure, you already develop downstream industries that feed into the big projects that you are dealing with. Then tourism is the fifth large one, where I've talked about rebranding, so that this country becomes a destination of choice. We have one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Victoria Falls. It is one of the 7 wonders of the world. You know, so it doesn't make sense for this country not to be amongst the top tourism destinations in the world. Because if you want to see one of the 7 wonders of the world, you have to go to Victoria Falls. You know, so we need to repackage ourselves. Even the Great Zimbabwe, it's a masterpiece. But most people don't even know about the Great Zimbabwe Monument. Even those that come into the country, they just go to Vic Falls. They don't go even to Great Zimbabwe. So it is about packaging the product, selling the product, marketing the product, even building certain infrastructure which adds value to the product, so that when someone comes to the Victoria Falls, they have quite a jolly good time with the things that you have created that add value to your natural resources. So there's massive potential to earn foreign currency in tourism. You will be surprised that some countries like in the north there, which have simple things like pyramids, you will find that you will be surprised that the largest foreign currency earner, say for that country, could actually be tourism. For a large country like that, just because of pyramids, just as an example. And with what we have here, we are not even scratching the surface in terms of tourism. So those are the 5 key pillars which we believe will be able to drive the economy in this country in terms of our manifesto. When I talk about other 2 overarching issues that I was talking about, the first one is, we've already touched on it, this pariah state thing that I was talking about, the reintegration of Zimbabwe into the community of nations. I know the current government talks about re-engagement and that kind of thing, which is fine. But it needs to be a more focused and robust strategy. And it needs to be done consistently. You can't do that when you keep scoring a lot of own goals that you keep doing. People don't take you serious. You need to be walking the talk, and you need to be pursuing that agenda relentlessly, such that the people will have no choice but to now notice you and to now want to work with you because of the way you are now doing things. In fact, they will feel left behind if they don't start working with you, because others will be already working with you. Then finally, corruption. That one needs to be dealt with, and needs to be dealt with forcefully and without making any apologies. And it needs to be driven right from the top. People need to know that now this culture that was now prevalent of corruption being like a culture everywhere is now gone. People need to know now we are now moving forward in a different direction. Now we want to reward hard, honest work. Honest, hard work. People need to know that in Zimbabwe, if you are working honestly, efficiently, and properly, in accordance with the law, you will get rewarded. We will not be rewarding people, chicanerism, and people who are just entrepreneurs, and people, we are now, as a people, we are glorifying such. That is got to be a thing of the past. And from myself, I am pledging to provide ethical leadership that will set us in the direction of zero tolerance to corruption.
There is already a crackdown on corruption in this country. Do you agree?
No, we haven't seen it that much. All the big profile cases, most of the big profile cases, have amounted to naught. You know that.
Are you saying Zach is sitting on its laurels?
We haven't seen much results. You know that people now perceive that the lifestyle in this country is generally corrupt. You know that, and perception is reality. You understand? The way people think, the way they do things, in terms of things to do with corruption, is driven by perception. And this is where I'm saying culture, those that are students of culture will tell you that culture change is driven from the top. It is driven by a purposeful direction from the top, which people can see and which people will believe in. And we will be able to provide that.
And in your view, the top is not effective in dealing with corruption in Zimbabwe?
I'm just saying, based on what is happening on the ground, this government has not been able to effectively tackle corruption.
Yeah, but my question is direct and simple.
That I've answered your question. I've answered your question.
Government involves even the lower tiers.
Yes.
You spoke about the top. And
Yes.
my question is clear.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that the top has failed to deal with corruption in this country?
I've said that I will be able to deliver on corruption better than those that are there now.
Do you owe any soft spot for the top?
What does that mean?
You evade every question I ask you directly about the top.
No. You ask questions, I answer questions the way I want to answer questions.
Who do you think must be responsible to ensure that ZAC does its work? Or that is it ZAC that has failed to do its work, or it doesn't have the power to do its work?
I think to an extent also ZAC will have failed because, you know, they have a mandate just to deal with corruption only, right? And if they do their scorecard in the private, they are part of the, you know, the institutions that save the country. If they do a balanced scorecard in terms of what have they achieved. If they were in the private sector, they would have been fired. Or even the government could have done the same thing if they want to be really objective about you know what is happening. Yeah.
Did you ever discuss corruption and ZAC in the POLAD?
Corruption we did discuss. I don't think that we zeroed in on ZAC per se, but we have always said that corruption needs to is one of the we've identified two very big things. Myself as chairman of Economic Committee in POLAD, we've identified two very big things in this economy. One was sanctions. This is why I'm talking about this reintegration. And the other one was corruption. So the two of them are huge, major, overarching issues and that affect the whole economy.
And you failed to deal with them while you were in POLAD.
In terms of dealing with the issue of sanctions, I talked about.
There were players.
I talked about tolerance. I talked about political dialogue. You understand? And now you see there are even there's some progress that has been made in terms of things like even the debt, you know, the debt restructuring, you know, the Chisano things. Those things were coming, some of them from POLAD, to address the sanctions issue. You understand? Then the corruption, we've always been pushing and saying corruption should not be tolerated, and government should always push to plug the loopholes. We talked about even the exchange rate. When I talked about POLAD Economic Summit, more recently in July 2022, we did the currency index when the currency had started becoming volatile last year, like then what happened in 2023. Last year, for the currency to stabilize, in July, we did currency index. And what was coming out there, the word that was coming out the most was arbitrage. Huh? So arbitrage, we were fighting arbitrage. So this thing of auction versus paro market, even people going to the auction, getting money from the auction and offloading it on the paro market. We were fighting against that.
President, you are saying that in your view, POLAD is a very important tool in nation building.
Yes, it has proven to be. Yes.
And if you are elected president, you would look at keeping it?
I would do better because I would put in place an inclusive government. POLAD is a consultative platform which makes recommendations which may or may not be taken up by government. So I would go a step further. Having learned from POLAD, I would put in place an inclusive government.
If you if you were to be elected president, would you not be a sitting duck?
Why?
You don't have members of parliament, do you?
We are not fielding all the members of parliament. So you are right, we are unlikely to have a majority. We will not, yeah? And this is why, but I am not bothered because already from the outset we have said we want an inclusive government. If I am elected to be president, I will have been given a mandate by the people of Zimbabwe. At the end of the day, the people are supreme. So if I have the mandate of the people of Zimbabwe, I cannot be a sitting duck for anyone because I will be having the support of the Zimbabweans. Yeah.
But you do appreciate that Parliament has a very, very strong say in the presidency.
Parliament, not in the presidency, but in the state. You know, the four arms of well, three arms of the state, and yourselves being the fourth estate. You have the executive, which is led by the president. You have the legislature, parliament, and you have the judiciary, and then yourselves, the press as the fourth estate. So everybody should be able to play their role. It is done this way so that there are effective checks and balances. In fact, this is where we have gotten it wrong.
But
yeah.
you do agree that Parliament has a very strong hand in terms of the presidency, because as a president, you can't operate and deliver when you don't have laws that favor your policies. Would you?
Okay, in this country, a president is elected directly by the people. In other jurisdictions, a president is elected by Parliament. You understand? So in that case, you would say Parliament has an effect on the president. But in this case, it doesn't. The president, just let me finish, the president is elected directly by the people. And there's a reason why we do it that way. So he has the mandate of the people. That's one arm of the state. The legislature is another arm of the state. And they have to offer checks and balances on what the executive is doing. Granted. And that's how it should be. So if the president and his government is coming up with policies, Parliament ought to scrutinize those policies to make sure that it is in the best interests of the people. And so that even if it is laws or if it is policies that are being made, we end up with the best policies for the people. So I actually believe that this whipping system that we've been having, where Parliament is effectively just rubber stamping what the executive is doing, because you have the same people controlling Parliament and the executive, is making the checks and balances ineffective, the way we have been doing it now. I believe if you have a different person...
But Parliament can simply impeach you.
They can't simply. They have to be grounds for impeachment. And they have to be solid grounds for impeachment. You can't just wake up tomorrow and say, this person is not from our party, we want to... No. They've got to be solid grounds. Even for when...
Parliament can simply refuse to pass your budget.
It's fine. They've got to be reasons. And the people need to debate and move forward. This is what I'm actually giving you a counter argument. That if you have people not from the same party who are heading, president and the parliament, you actually have more effective things coming out of the system because there are checks and balances.
Parliament has the capacity to cripple presidential operations by just refusing, arguing and refusing to...
It happens. It happens even in the United States of America. It happens a lot.
But you have
Democrats
but you are saying that Parliament has no power. But you have just said Parliament has no power on the presidency.
I'm
just showing you that.
I'm giving you an example.
So how do you run a country where you don't have control on Parliament?
I'm telling you, in the United States of America, does the Congress have power over the president? Even if you have a Republican Congress and a Democratic president, even when you had Obama, and they don't have power over the president. Yes, they can try to veto some of the things that the president is coming up with. But I'm saying it's actually good because it gives checks and balances. Because eventually, the people are supreme. You find a way of negotiating and coming up with what is best. The country cannot stop. You move forward. And America is a very good example of how that works. So it can work even here. I think this is the argument that I'm putting, that you can actually end up with better laws and better policies where things are really scrutinized. Now, things are just rubber stamped. And I'll put it to you that Parliament is pretty much useless in this country. And we are saying maybe it shouldn't be like that. Maybe you should have proper checks and balances. Yeah.
We are just less than a month away from an election.
Yeah.
What is your analysis in terms of the freeness and fairness of this election?
Okay. A lot of journalists have been asking the same question. So far, I just speak for my coalition, ZCPD. So far, when we launched ZCPD on 16 March this year, since then, we have been able to go to every province in this country to launch the coalition, to talk about the coalition, to get our parties integrated, and to talk to the various other people that we want to talk about, to talk to about our coalition. We've had to seek police clearance and all those things. We've even had some police attending some of these meetings and whatever. We haven't had problems. I'll be honest with you. We've been able to do what we wanted to do. We've just had one incident during the nomination court process in Insiza, where one of our potential candidates was harassed by some ZANU-PF people. And the matter was reported to the police. But we are happy because those ZANU-PF people were arrested quickly and the matter went to the courts. So for us, that's the only incident we have had. And we are happy with the rule of law that happened in terms of dealing with that particular case. So for us, so far, we haven't had any problems.
You did take delivery of a brand new vehicle from government under POLAD.
2 years ago, yes.
Do you feel like you owe this government for doing you a favor, for dipping into taxpayers' money?
I've got at least 8 vehicles at my house.
And
So really,
you added the 9.
so it's not an issue that I feel that I've been indebted to because for the 2 years before that, we had been using our own vehicles for POLAD business, and there was a lot of that business. For example, I'm telling you, I was chairman of the economic committee. My own vehicle got a lot of mileage, from POLAD business for years before we got that vehicle. So when we got that vehicle, yes, we were thankful that at least now we didn't have to use our own vehicles for that business. And so that's as far as I can say. Yeah.
If someone is to push back and say the nation that funded those vehicles did not see any benefits from POLAD, what would you say?
My friend, just to give you an example, every member of parliament has got a government.
They're elected. They have a mandate.
I'm just saying.
But
the mandate is not to say that they should get vehicles. They are given vehicles so that they can do the work.
People rejected your political parties. They rejected, and you went ahead to feed in the taxpayers' money. What right did you have?
What I'm saying is,
you can't compare yourself with parliamentarians.
When people elect parliamentarians, they are not saying that we want you to get vehicles.
No, but you are comparing.
But I'm just giving you an example.
Apple with tomatoes.
I'm just giving you an example.
Yes.
The reason why they get the vehicles is that it has been seen that for them to execute the mandate, it is necessary.
The people's will, yes.
To do that.
Yeah. But
you don't have...
In this case...
the executive which instituted POLAD, realized the benefit of having POLAD for the whole system, and even for the country, and realized the work that we had been doing in POLAD, even with our own resources, and felt it necessary and appropriate to do those vehicles, those 15 or so vehicles for those POLAD principles.
Do you think that
of which I am one of them, and then they bought them, and then we accepted them, and we have used them for POLAD business, and that's the story.
Do you think that that POLAD and those vehicles can be an albatross on your neck as you head into August 23?
No, I don't think that anybody who feels that I can add value to this country will refuse to vote for me just because I have a POLAD vehicle. I don't think so.
Do you think that the people who might have thought you could add value to this country might have withdrawn
just because of the vehicle?
Yes.
No. I can add much more value to this country than the cost of that vehicle. In fact, I've already added more value. I talked about the interventions that we made to ensure that we are using multiple currencies. You take these things for granted. That we are it's a thing. But I can
argue that multi-currencies came into Zimbabwe in 2009, and there was no POLAD.
But they were banned in 2020, and we influenced that it came back to multiple currencies.
Do you think it was POLAD? Do you think it was POLAD or it was market forces?
No, it was not.
As a business person,
it was not market forces.
It was POLAD.
Politics. I'm telling you this. In this country, politics rules. You understand? And so politics is about two things. Politics is about power and influence.
And
I'll tell you that
you want that power and influence.
And I'll tell you that POLAD has had a lot of influence.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to thank you very much, President, for coming through and having this amazing and lovely conversation with us on this the Free Talk in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation. But before you go, President, I'm just going to ask you to look into the people of Zimbabwe and talk to them, and share from your heart in just under 2 minutes, President, why the key component, why they should vote for you, President.
Okay, thank you. Zimbabwe, I'm running for President of Zimbabwe in the August 23 elections. I am a candidate who has the aspirations of the people of Zimbabwe at heart. I am an ethical leader who is a business leader, who is a chartered accountant, who is an economist of repute. I think that at this juncture, that is the kind of leadership that this country needs. We need to grow our economy. We need to revive our economy. We need to put Zimbabwe in its rightful place. At the end of the day, it is not about the parties that we lead. At the end of the day, it is not about even the politicians. At the end of the day, it is about you, your family, your household, your children, and your children's children. You need to entrust this country in the hands of somebody who you believe will give you the best chance and the best shot at life. And I think if we are to pursue our lives to the best possible advantage, if we are to reach the aspirations of every Zimbabwean, if we are to reach the full potential of this country, we need to start to do things that work. Whatever we've been doing in the past 20 plus years has proven not to work. It is time to do something that works. It is time to put in place leadership that works. Trust. Vote Trust Chikohora, vote CPD, August 23. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the presidential candidate, Trust Chikohora, he is looking for your vote. Now, this is and this will always be the Free Talk with me, your host as usual, Dara, and we are going to continue to have these conversations until people vote, and we're going to have them even after, as we follow the winners. And if you are president, we will be coming to State House to have a conversation, to have a conversation with you, and hopefully you want to have conversations with just the state media only if you get into office.
No, okay.
Amazing. Now, Zimbabweans go to election. It is your responsibility as a citizen to ensure that you elect a government of your choice. I mean, I always say, governments decide how you get your education or how your children get their education. They decide how you get treated at hospitals. They decide your health care. They decide whether you are going to get a meal the following day or not, because government's responsibility is to do for the people what they can't do for themselves. Government's responsibility is to put policies that enable their citizens to live a better and fulfilling life. And if you withdraw your vote, you withdraw your right to speak in terms of how your welfare is taken care of. I am your host as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga, here on Heart and Soul TV and radio in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation on this, the Free Talk. Until next time, thank you for joining me and my host. And please don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel so that you don't miss this amazing debate. President?
Thank you very much.